have been recent remarks, rather repeated remarks from President Trump, saying that the US has financially supported the building and the construction of this dam. What is the truth? Because the understanding is that this has been built by the contribution from the government and from the people in Ethiopia.
People say, okay, this couldn't have been done unless there has been support from abroad, which is not true. It is purely by Ethiopians' money. It is by the public money that we could build GERD.
There are large and impressive hydropower dams around the world, but then there is the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, Africa's largest dam ever. It is so big to the point that it has its own classification. Call it the mega dam. And they say that the reservoir behind it is roughly the same size as London, or the size of Houston, Texas. The dam itself is twice as tall as the Golden Gate Bridge in the USA. This unbelievable feat of engineering by the Ethiopians will go down in history as one of the greatest achievements of their nation in recent years. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is simply known as the GERD, and it is expected to alleviate millions out of poverty and transform the economy of Ethiopia. The GERD is estimated to cost around $5 billion US, and unlike other projects in Africa, it was largely financed by Ethiopians themselves through selling bonds and contributing a portion of their salaries to the project, which is very impressive.
Yeah, I feel very proud on this big project. This is the Ethiopian sovereign project indeed. There is no contribution of any international organizations. There is no money of IMF, no money of World Bank, nothing. This is the real property of Ethiopia.
Therefore, most Ethiopians feel a special attachment to this project. The remaining funds, around $1 billion, was sourced through a Chinese bank, and construction began in 2011, led by the late Prime Minister Meles Zenawi, and was opened by the current Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed. However, as the Ethiopians were celebrating their biggest construction achievement in recent years, Egypt and Sudan, the two downstream countries, were not happy at all, particularly Egypt, which is one of the most water-stressed countries in the world.
But if the objective is not to find an agreement and to continue to operate unilaterally without any form of regulation that guarantees, then we have to doubt the purpose of the dam.
The GERD is located in western Ethiopia, right where the Blue Nile enters Sudan, joins with the White Nile in Sudan, and forms the Nile proper all the way to Egypt. So it turns out that the dam is strategically located in an area which gives Ethiopia almost total control of the waterflow. For Egypt, this dam is a threat, and they have not ruled out military action to secure water for their country. And Sudan, embroiled in a civil war itself, is caught in the middle of these two giants. Stay tuned to learn the facts about this engineering marvel and why in some quarters Africa's largest dam is described as the controversial dam, which raises questions of who owns and controls the water flow in the Nile.
Has also defeated the notion of Africans always being dependent on the West to fund our project. This is historical. This It's another independence. But I want each and every African watching this video to like this video and say that congratulations to the beautiful people of Ethiopia. Wow!
The GERD is capable of storing 74 billion cubic meters of water, so that is roughly a year and a half worth of water flow from the river that it sits on. The dam itself is made of 10 million cubic meters of raw compacted concrete, and it includes 2 power stations, 3 spillways and a saddle dam. The main dam is 145 meters deep by 1.7 kilometers long, while the saddle dam supporting the main structures will be an incredible 4.8 kilometers long by 45 meters high. These numbers are insane. The 74 billion cubic meters of water will be exerting enormous pressure on the foundation. So the integrity of the foundation and structures around it must be absolutely spot on, otherwise there would be a catastrophe.
This is definitely a masterpiece of engineering. My goodness, wow! Look at the flow of the water, man. That's insane. As Ugandan,
yes,
being here for the past 18 years, seeing the progress, seeing that Africans came together to build this, how does that make you feel, man?
I feel really good because it's deep inside, it's Pan-African.
It appears that some specifications and materials have been kept a secret due to the political tensions the dam has generated. Once fully commissioned, the dam is expected to double Ethiopia's current electricity output to a staggering 5,250 megawatts. Considering that 60% of Ethiopians have no access to electricity, the dam then is a game changer for the nation, which has ambitions to power its industrialization journey as part of the economic miracle of Ethiopia. Additionally, the GERD will generate electricity for export to neighboring countries who have shown interest, such as Somaliland, South Sudan, and Tanzania, among others. However, Tanzania just finished constructing their own dam, the Julius Nyerere hydropower station.
Really, this is amazing Ethiopian Grand Renaissance Dam. It is really amazing and very historic for Ethiopian and for Africa as well. Because I really think this dam does not only generate electricity, it also generates peace, because really it integrates Africans, especially Horn of Africa.
Exporting energy will address chronic forex shortages for the country, and according to the World Bank, Ethiopia could earn a staggering $1 billion a year from exporting energy alone. Big money indeed.
We have spent the better part of a decade in tiresome negotiations with our brothers in the Sudan and Ethiopia, through which our aim was to reach an agreement on the filling and operation of the dam. Indeed, the Nile River must not be monopolized by one state. For Egypt, the Nile water is an existential matter.
I want to make it abundantly clear that we have no intention to harm these countries. What we are essentially doing is to meet our electricity demands from one of the cleanest sources of energy. We cannot afford to continue keeping more than 65 million of our people in the dark.
And as for the strained relations which the GERD has caused, historically, there were agreements on how the water from River Nile should be used. Treaties drawn out by colonial governments in the 50s favored Egypt and practically made the Egyptians in charge of the river in that region. Egypt was granted 55 billion cubic meters of water for its use, and the Sudanese were to use 18 billion cubic meters of water to operate its hydroelectric dams and for general usage. Ethiopia was excluded in this agreement, though the Blue Nile originates from there and supplies over 80% of the water to the Nile proper. Maybe because Ethiopia was never colonized. The Sudanese are really caught in the middle here. They do share some concerns with Egypt to preserve some water for agriculture. However, Sudan has had plenty of water in recent years, as they have access to the White Nile. Additionally, due to climate change, Sudan has had plenty of water due to heavy rainfall. Sudan might actually benefit from the dam in a different way if they can agree to cooperate and coordinate with Ethiopia for water regulation, which could reduce the floods which have been damaging for the country. Sudan, just like Egypt, has asked for a legally binding deal agreement regarding the filling and the operating of the dam. Unlike the Sudan, Egypt is another level of concern. Egypt is the Nile, and the Nile is Egypt. Egypt is a water-stressed country and almost entirely depends on the Nile River's water resource for its survival and agriculture. For this reason, 95% of Egypt's population live along the Nile. And just like the Sudan, the Egyptians have been very lucky in recent years due to plenty of rainfall. So there has been no shortage of water recently. But if the water flow was to be compromised, the consequences could be catastrophic for Egypt. The true test for the countries will come when there is less rainfall than experienced recently. As stated elsewhere, Egypt has threatened military action, but that is an unlikely option. Really, it won't make any sense. Bomb the dam, then no one wins, including Egypt. Talks have been ongoing between the two countries with no tangible outcome or agreement. Ethiopia has reassured its neighbors that there will be no compromise to their water supply and the dam will benefit everyone. The way I see it, the only way here is dialogue. Egypt probably needs to accept that they are no longer in charge of the Nile, and Ethiopia needs to consider the concerns of the downstream countries. A treaty can be reached which will enable all the countries involved to benefit from this grand project. Thank you for watching. Leave your comments below and I'll see you in my next one.